Good night, all. This is Miss Edwards back again to speak to you pertaining to our narrative writing for the 2020 SE exam. Last time we spoke about the different sections that are required for the marking, and I highlighted to you the content area, the figurative language, organization, and also grammar and mechanics. We went on to further explain content and looking at what is the content. It includes the setting, the character, the plot, and today we are going to move a little deeper into it. In order for you to create any story, first we're going to look at the whole writing process. For creative writing, essay writing as you may know it or it is called to you, we have our writing process. The first will be the pre-writing, where you would decide why you are writing and who will be reading this writing piece that you're having. You would choose a topic, and after your selection of your topic, you would gather ideas. This idea is called, gathering of the ideas is called brainstorming. Of course, it's just, throwing out all the little thoughts that come to your mind. But each thought must then be organized as to which will come first, which will come second, or in other words, which one would belong to the setting and which one would belong in the plot. That being said and done, we also need to look at, with that, creating your draft. A draft is a rough sketch. It's not the final thing. A draft is the first writing after you've gathered all your thoughts and just put them down. Most time it is known as the concept map. So after you've done your mapping of your ideas, you would then create your draft. You use the draft or you create your draft using the notes from the pre-writing, all your ideas. But ideas are not always sentences. And today, this is what I would like to focus on. In writing your draft, you may be in a bit of a rush, and not always is your sentence written properly. By definition, a sentence is a group of words that express a complete thought. In writing, the beginning of a sentence is marked by a capital letter. Always. This is no change of rule for anyone. So it is marked by a capital letter that starts the sentence, the first word, and it ends with either a full stop or a question mark, and in some cases even an exclamation mark. So you may have an example of a full stop. The pupils enjoyed reading their favorite story. Full stop. That's the little dot. Or you may have, would you like to join me as I read my story? Question mark. What a fantastic idea! Exclamation mark. These three are all sentences. They all begin with capital letter and end with one of the following periods or punctuation marks. Making sentences is using the ideas that you would gather from your pre-writing exercise where you brainstorm and you jot down your ideas. What is necessary is that I'm asking you, don't worry about your mistakes in spelling or your mistakes in the grammar. But however, at this point in the draft, I would like you to get your ideas down and try putting them into sentences. We move on to the next step, revise. And I think by now you have heard your teacher saying over and over, read over your work, read over your work, read over your work. When you read it over, there may be a word missing or some important detail. And that brings me to the point of our figurative language. Our figurative language in creative writing, which is another aspect of our SEA marking criteria. The language used must be descriptive and figuratively appealing to the person. When we say descriptive or figurative language, one must understand that it speaks to the senses of the reader. That is, the person must be able to sit and visualize, must be able to sit and gather the concept of hearing the sound from the story, or even imagining the taste of something. It speaks to our senses. It helps us to create a mental picture as we read the story. Figurative language. So, in creating our story in our sentences, one must understand that we must use a series of ideas. These ideas will come together and you create your sentences. Again, a group of words that makes complete sense and expresses a thought is a sentence. It begins with a capital letter and ends with one of either full stop, question mark, or exclamation mark. In our revising of what has been written or the sentences written, you may realize that you're a bit off the topic. So you will delete some of the ideas or even substitute some of the words, for at times you may be using one word repeatedly. You are then going to be asked to organize your story into, or arrange your story or sentences, into sequence. When you rearrange these sentences, you would then group them according to the topic or the main idea for each sentence. This is what creates your paragraph. A paragraph or a story is made up of paragraphs, several paragraphs. We would identify the paragraph by the indentation, that is where there's an inch or half-inch in to the beginning of a line. A paragraph is a series of sentences which develops one main idea or topic. A well-written paragraph is one that has all the sentences related to that topic in that section. Very often, the topic of a paragraph is stated, or the main idea is stated in the first sentence. Most writers place the topic sentence at the beginning. However, when writing, it can be placed anywhere within the paragraph. Please bear in mind that the topic or the point you are trying to bring out is called a topic sentence. The simplest way to write a good paragraph is to start with the topic sentence and then develop where other details are added on, but using sentences. The details commonly used to develop a paragraph are facts or examples, reasons or explanations, and figures of speech. I really hope that it is clear for you now in understanding how we build the content. We are doing our pre-writing where we would brainstorm ideas. These can be words or phrases based on the topic that you have selected. From the pre-writing, we will go to the draft where the sentences are created. The sentences are then grouped together or organized where we would create a paragraph. Paragraph is several sentences, but they all must be related as far as the topic for that paragraph is concerned. So if we are speaking about the boy named John and how he feels, everything within that paragraph must relate to John and his feelings. Whether we use facts or examples of how John felt, whether we use a reason or an explanation for how he felt, or we include a figure of speech giving a description of how John felt. Boys and girls, I will come back again and we will discuss figurative language. How can we describe using our sensory words to describe how John felt? Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I hope that it helps you in improving in your creative writing. Have a good night.